All right, Celtic faithful, strap yourselves in. Because there's a lot brewing behind the scenes at Paradise, and the summer's already shaping up to be anything but quiet. With Brendan Rodgers getting ready to reshape the squad once more, there's a real sense of change in the air. Transfers in, transfers out, players on the cusp of departure, and others hoping for one last chance. It's all on the table. And right at the heart of this whirlwind is a name that's dividing opinions and raising eyebrows: Marco Tilio. The Aussie winger is back in Glasgow after a solid loan spell back home with Melbourne City, but the big question is, does he have a future? At Celtic, Tilio's situation perfectly captures the uncertainty hanging over the club right now. Let's not kid ourselves, there are a good few players who look set to move on. Greg Taylor's contract is running down. Jeffrey Schlupp has finished his loan, and Dyson Maida is drawing attention from Turkish clubs. Even Nicholas Kuhn's name could resurface in transfer gossip given the buzz that surrounded him back in January. Rodgers, of course, will be looking to make his own additions, players that fit his system and help push for yet another Scottish Premiership title. But when it comes to Tilio, the jury's still out. And here's the thing, Marco Tilio didn't just sit around during his time away. He went back to the A-League and made a real statement. He was instrumental in Melbourne City's title win, playing the full 90 in the grand final against arch-rivals Melbourne Victory. Over 19 appearances, he clocked 5 goals and 5 assists, but more than just stats. It was the confidence, sharpness and rhythm in his game that turned heads. After an injury-ridden spell at Celtic that saw him barely get a look in, the lad looks like he's found his feet again, and that form hasn't gone unnoticed. Tilio's earned a recall to the Australian national team setup under Tony Popovich, and that speaks volumes. The winger knows the clock's ticking towards the World Cup in 2026, and he's laser-focused on being part of that squad. I feel in a really good place right now. My future is obviously up in the air at the moment, so I'm unsure what's going to happen, he admitted in a recent interview. It's always been about just playing well. I know when I'm playing well that people are always watching. I want to do everything I can to help Australia qualify for another World Cup. You can sense the hunger in him. After being on the fringes for so long, he's got a point to prove. Not just to the fans, but to Rodgers, the coaching staff, and maybe even himself. I took everything in from the last camp and put myself in a position now where I feel I'm better for it. I just want to execute everything that I know that I can and put myself in a position to hopefully be in the squad and play. It's been 18 months since I've actually stepped on the pitch for the national team. So I think it's at that time now that I put myself in a position to play well, get an opportunity to do well, and hopefully sort of cement a spot in there. Now cast your mind back to when he first signed for Celtic. The hype was real. Signed for £1.5 million, a record fee for an A-League player. Tilio arrived with plenty of excitement. He was buzzing to follow in the footsteps of fellow Aussies like Aaron Mooy, Tom Rogic, and even the legendary Mark Viduka. It's an amazing opportunity for myself, he said at the time. Having seen Aussies go over there and do well at such a prestigious club, it's a massive opportunity for myself that I couldn't deny. And being around those guys, Aaron Mooy and Tommy Rogic, in the national team camp over recent years, obviously helped make my decision easier. But what happened next didn't go to plan. He struggled with injuries from the get-go, missing the entire preseason, and then some. Brendan Rodgers, speaking in late 2023, was honest about the challenges. It's just time. He will admit it himself. It's been a really, really hard transition for him. The intensity of the game is totally different to what he is used to, so it's been a challenge for him in training, Rodgers said. And fair play to the manager. He wasn't writing Tilio off, but he was realistic about the time it takes to adapt, especially coming from a league like the AL League to the Scottish Premiership, where the pace, physicality, and expectations are on another level. It's always difficult, Rodgers continued. You're a new player coming into a club, and you end up being injured virtually all of preseason and into September. He has started to find his feet in the last 3 or 4 weeks. It's going to take him more time, but I'm not in any big rush for Marco. He will bring himself to the team as quickly as he can produce in training and over his time here. He's adapting, but it's taking a wee bit longer for him, just purely because the intensity of the game is totally different to where he has come from. And now, roughly 18 months after those words, here we are. Tilio's back at Lennoxtown training, waiting, wondering. The question isn't just whether he's good enough, he clearly has talent, but whether Rodgers sees him fitting into the bigger picture. Because if Celtic are going all in on reclaiming domestic dominance and trying to make some kind of mark in Europe, every squad spot becomes precious. Can Tilio convince Rodgers he's worth one of them? Right now, nothing's certain. There's talk that he might get preseason to prove himself, and if that happens, it could be his golden ticket. He's older now, stronger, more mature. The boy who landed in Scotland full of dreams has been tested, bruised, and humbled, but he's still standing. Or maybe, just maybe, he's ready to rise. But if we're being brutally honest, preseason might be the only real window Marco Tilio has left to show what he's made of in a Celtic shirt. He's not a fresh signing anymore. The excitement that surrounded his arrival has faded, replaced by hard questions and even harder expectations. That's the way of football at a club the size of Celtic. It's relentless. You either take your chance or the train moves on without you. And with Rodgers set to welcome new faces, possibly even wingers with more experience or physicality, Tilio's walking a tightrope. One misstep and it could be loan spells and sidelines all over again. What's more, Celtics fans are not the most patient when it comes to players who haven't delivered yet. They've seen talents come and go and no one is given a free pass. You got to earn the shirt. And though there's sympathy for Tilio's injury troubles and the culture shock of moving from the AA League to the Scottish Premiership that only buys you a small amount of time, from here on out, it's performances that speak. If Tilio wants a place in the squad, he'll need to make it impossible for Rodgers to ignore him. Through goals, assists, work rate, and presence on the pitch, another factor working against him is the growing pressure on Celtic to not just dominate domestically, but to show signs of life in Europe. Every season that goes by without a significant run in the UEFA competitions adds weight to Rodgers' shoulders. That means squad selection becomes a calculated decision, not a sentimental one. Young players with promise have to compete with seasoned professionals who can hit the ground running. And while Tilio's resurgence in Australia is encouraging, he still has to prove he can replicate that form in Glasgow week in, week out under real pressure. And yet there's still a path. Tilio has something that can't be taught. A spark, a flair, a willingness to take risks. He plays with a bit of chaos in his boots, the kind of unpredictability that defenders hate. If Rodgers can harness that, if he believes Tilio has finally adapted to the pace and demands of the game in Scotland, then the Aussie might just surprise a few people. But it won't come easy. Every training session, every friendly, every minute on the pitch during preseason will be like a trial. There's no more time to settle. It's now or never. In some ways, Tilio's journey reflects what Celtic itself often represents: defying expectations. A club that's constantly written off by outsiders, competing against bigger budgets, tougher leagues, and still fighting to carve his place in European football. Tilio came to Scotland to be part of that story. Now he has to prove he belongs in it. He's not the first Aussie to walk this path. Mark Viduka did it with power and presence. Tom Rogic became a fan favorite with moments of pure magic. Aaron Mooy brought calm and control in midfield when it mattered most. These are big boots to fill. But every legacy starts somewhere. For Tilio, the script hasn't been written yet. There's still time to flip the narrative. And even if the odds are against him, football is a funny game. One great preseason performance, one goal that lifts the fans to their feet, one assist that changes the momentum of a match, that's sometimes all it takes. Suddenly the conversation shifts. Suddenly the doubters go quiet. Suddenly the player finds himself not just part of the squad, but making a difference. Of course, the opposite is just as possible. If he fades into the background, if the intensity of training proves too much, if Rodgers opts to loan him out again or even move him on permanently, then this might be the end of the Celtic chapter for Marco Tilio. It wouldn't be the first time a promising young player failed to make the jump, and it wouldn't necessarily be the end of his career. Just a detour, but after everything he's worked for, everything. He's pushed through. You can tell he's not ready to let go just yet. From interviews to his body language on the pitch, you can sense the shift in his mindset. This is a player who knows what he wants now. He wants to play for his country. He wants to shine in Europe. He wants to leave a mark in green and white, and he knows he can't wait around hoping for it to happen. He has to grab the opportunity with both hands and make it his. Rodgers will be watching closely, not just for flashes of brilliance, but for consistency, attitude, growth. The coaching staff will be assessing every move, every reaction, every bit of communication on and off the pitch. And the fans, they'll be watching too, hoping, maybe quietly, that the Aussie underdog can prove them wrong. Because in the end, everyone loves a comeback. Everyone loves a player who doesn't quit. And if Tilio can find that extra gear, that belief, that bit of magic he showed back in Australia, he might just write a new chapter in his Celtic story. One with goals, assists, and a roar of redemption echoing through Celtic Park. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. Whispers are echoing all across Glasgow and beyond, sending shockwaves through the Scottish footballing landscape. Could Andrew Robertson be on his way to Celtic? A rumor that at first seemed utterly improbable has taken on a life of its own in recent days, with various murmurs suggesting that the Liverpool and Scotland captain might be considering a sensational return to his homeland. Sources close to the situation claim that Robertson, who has spent the last several years cementing his place as one of the finest left-backs in world football, is contemplating a new chapter in his career. Although there has been no official confirmation from either Celtic or Liverpool, nor from the player himself, the rumor mill is spinning wildly, fueled by Robertson's well-known affection for his boyhood club Celtic and his desire to finish his career closer to home. The potential move would be nothing short of seismic for Scottish football. Celtic fans are already dreaming of the possibility, with social media ablaze with speculation and mock-ups of Robertson donning the famous green and white hoops. His arrival would not only bolster Celtic's defense with Premier League pedigree, but also ignite a new wave of excitement and ambition as the club seeks to reassert its dominance domestically and make waves in Europe. Financially, however, the deal remains steeped in uncertainty. With Robertson under contract at Liverpool and still playing at the peak of his powers, any move would likely require significant negotiation and possibly hinge on personal motivations rather than sporting or financial necessity. Yet, as some pundits have noted, football is rarely predictable, and the pull of home can be a powerful force. Insiders have hinted that initial informal contact may have been made between Celtic representatives and Robertson's camp, though nothing concrete has yet materialized. For now, it remains a tantalizing possibility, one that has the entire Scottish football scene holding its breath. Only time will tell if this story is merely a midsummer fantasy or the prelude to one of the most remarkable homecomings in recent memory. But if there's one thing everyone agrees on, it's that the very thought of Andrew Robertson wearing the Celtic shirt once more is enough to set pulses racing across Scotland. Hello fans, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.